racerpac.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Jonathan Mosley and Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of today's show at 9 p.m. this evening Eastern Time, log on to vigilantlibertyradio.us. And at 5 p.m. this afternoon, you can hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show by logging on to CPRWorldwideMedia.com. Our next guest is Zach Taylor. Zach is the chairman of the National Association of Former Border Patrol Officers. Zach, welcome to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure, Zach. And Zach, to start things out, please tell us about the National Association of Former Border Guard Patrol Officers, its goals and its mission.
Well, we started back in 2006, 2007, when the John Kyle, John McCain, George Bush amnesty was proposed. And we saw that a lot of disinformation was being put out to the American people concerning what the amnesty had been and what this current proposal would do. And they were glossing over a lot of facts and making representations that simply weren't true.
Mm-hmm.
So our group formed out of people that had retired from the Border Patrol and the Immigration Service to bring the truth to the American people and to advise, work as an advisory group, to educate the American people and to stand up for things that were good for America and to speak against things that were not good for America with regards to immigration, because our members have combined hundreds of years of experience in the field of immigration. So we're actually, they're only really go-to people that you can talk to about immigration that don't have a pecuniary interest in the outcomes. Other people that are, even though we're a 501c4, we don't charge people. We only go where we're invited. We won't accept money. If we go to Congress or if we go to a Tea Party or we go to a political meeting, we just talk about immigration. We stay on what's good, what's bad, what's happened in the past, what should happen in the future. And that's pretty much it. You have to apply to become a member of our group, and you can be invited to leave if you don't live up to our high standards.
Speaking of that, Zach, quick give out your website. We'll repeat it again later in the show, but where can people go to find out more about you guys?
Well, we're redoing it at present, and it's nafbpo.org.
Okay.
That's the National Association Former Border Patrol Officers.org, using the first letter out of each word.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go on there. You can look at our CIER. We've delivered a copy of that to every sitting member of the U.S. Congress, Senate, and House. And what it is, it's 20 pages in large print that tells them what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Zach, you know, in your introduction, when you were talking about your organization, its goals and the missions, you talked about the experience of your group. And what I wanted to ask you, are members of Congress coming to you and asking for your expertise, either you or members of your group? Are they taking advantage of the expertise that you all have?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Good. Good. Because, you know, my thing is, when you're talking about experience, the thing that flashed through my mind is whole lot more experience discussing and dealing with the border probably than any member in Congress. So if they're not coming to you for your experience and your advice, they're making a huge mistake. Call me crazy.
Well, let's put it this way. There's quite a few members of Congress that solicit our ideas and want to hear from us. and there's quite a few that don't.
And I could probably come up with a list of, without knowing that for sure, I probably could come up with both lists. Hey, Zach.
We don't do those kind of lists.
Okay.
People that we do talk to, the ones we do border tours for, the ones we do proposals for, if they want to tell you about it, they can, but we won't.
Okay.
We're completely anonymous.
Well, that's good.
As long as the right thing gets done, that's all we care about.
Right. Zach, talking about the right thing, we've asked you to come on our show today to set the record straight. There are a lot of rumors about what's going on down on the southern border. So what are the truths and what are the myths about what's going on down on our southern borders? And let's start with this. How many people are actually coming across our border?
That's an unknown.
Okay.
I've seen estimates in the Rio Grande Valley as high as 40%. I've seen estimates from the agents in the Rio Grande Valley as low as 10%. Probably somewhere in between. You can't really get a handle on that, especially if people cross and you don't see them.
Right.
Because then they don't get counted.
Well, that's obvious. That's obvious.
We listen to the radio traffic and we talk to the agents, and we know that they're trying to apprehend people that are walking through the brush 70 miles north of the border.
Wow.
Well, those were people that weren't seen crossing.
Right. It's got to be frustrating for people in your position to see what's going on down on our southern borders. Could you talk a little bit about that frustration?
Well, the real frustration is that you're being interfered with by the agency that is your parent organization and by the administration that the executive branch that gives them oversight and policy. The way that the Border Patrol is being operated, they're getting a lot of administrative interference from the higher-ups in DHS, which obviously comes from the administration, and it makes it that much more difficult for the agent to do his job. And that ranges everywhere from how he's assigned, what kind of paperwork he has to do, how much, how he's paid, what kind of overtime, what kind of restrictions are put on him as to his discretion or somebody else's discretion on how he does the job. For instance, if he's sent out to a place where he knows nothing's going to happen, and he looks and he sees that a place that everybody in the station knows something's going to happen there tonight, but nobody's assigned to it, eventually he gets the idea they don't want that whoever the people are doing the assigning want the numbers to go down. In other words, for it to show in the statistics that illegal crossings are diminishing, when in fact the manipulation of the schedule and the work assignments caused a number of people not to be apprehended, so that the reported numbers are lower than they should have been.
Zach, we've heard reports that as many as 65,000 children, unaccompanied minors, have come to our borders and turned themselves in. And of course, I think what this has caused, it's caused a lot of attention to what's going on down on our southern border. But along with those 65,000 children, do we have any idea of how many adults are also with this?
The number that I heard, and this is not confirmed, was 240,000 others. And that of that which comes up, the number I heard was 60,000 for the unaccompanied minors, 240,000 for the others, which comes to about 300,000. So if the agents are catching somewhere between 10 and 40% of what they see, the number could be as high as 3 million that are not being apprehended.
Wow, that's Hey, Zach, maybe you were like me as a kid, and even today as adults, I like to watch television, westerns on TV and movies, and it seems like the good guys, they're the ones that are herding cattle, And the bad guys, they're the ones that come along and want to stampede the cattle to hide other illegal activities. What do you think that the likelihood is that this recent invasion of minor children is a cover-up for more sinister things, i.e. drug trafficking, human trafficking, terrorism, and other threats?
It's certainly a very plausible possibility. Because from what I'm hearing about the cartels is before the surge, they were getting about 50% of their people into the United States to embed them, and now that percentage is running more like 93%.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We know for years that the cartels have been going back to like 2008.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Zach, we got to take a real quick break. Could you just hold for just 2 minutes for us, please?
You bet.
All right, we are going to take a break, and you're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Jonathan Mosley and Rick Trader, coming to you from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360 AM in Philadelphia, our flagship station, the way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and around the world on the internet with our internet broadcast partners. By the way, you can now hear our show anytime, day or night, from any telephone by calling 832-999-1199. Please don't go away. We're speaking with Zach Taylor. He is the chairman of the National Association of Former Border Patrol Officers.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. EnjoyAbaco.com.
As I sail across the Sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
EnjoyAbaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Jonathan Mosley and Rick Trader, and our guest this segment is Zach Taylor. Zach is the chairman of the National Association of Former Border Patrol Officers. Zach, thanks for holding through that break. We appreciate your time. And we're talking with Zach about some of the myths and the truths of what's going on down at the borders. Zach, there are reports that 70% of the manpower that's supposed to be protecting our borders is now being used to take care of these children that are coming across the borders. Is that true?
It was. Right now in Nogales, which is one of the largest holding facilities, I think at one time they had over 800 Central Americans there, now has 0. So the percentage of the on-duty force on any shift has gone back to actually patrolling the border. Before that, a certain percentage or a fixed number of agents were taken away from patrolling the border to deal with the people that were in custody. So that has changed, changed recently. What is happening throughout the Border Patrol, and I understand I heard from some people yesterday up on the northern border that they were told that they can expect to be sent to the southern border to back up these people when and if there is another surge coming. And the amount of information, this is the key to it. This is what you have to understand. This is what's called a controlled event, a closed event, where nobody is allowed to tell or talk to the press, and the press is not allowed to talk to the general population of the aliens about what is actually going on. So the government, the administration, is controlling the message. And they're only letting out information that they want to get out, or maybe even are crafting the information before they're showcasing it, so to say. But it doesn't agree with what the agents are telling us, and it doesn't agree with what some of the healthcare workers are telling us, who are telling us that they're being threatened with criminal prosecution if they talk to the press about what is going on with the illegal aliens. Well, that's pretty drastic. What is it they're trying to keep from being disclosed? That's what the American people need to worry about, is what is their government hiding from them?
You know, I think, Zach, something else the American people have to worry about, and I want to bring John Mosley into this conversation, is you said there were 800 people at that one unit, and now there are none. I'd like to know where they went, John Mosley.
Yeah. Well, and you're very helpful to us to just understand what's normal. So the secrecy that even members of Congress have complained about at some of these things, your experience, that's not normal? That's a change? Zach Taylor?
Oh, yeah. I've done many congressional inquiries, and they've always, it's been an open-door policy until recently. Actually, since DHS took over, it seems like there's been a big change. They don't want to do what the congressman requests. They want to do a structured border tour. They want to do what we call a dog and pony show, and not necessarily let them see what it is they feel like they need to see. And I could give you examples of that, but I don't think they mean anything to you. But I think the whole idea that it seems like this administration holds Congress in contempt is something that should not have gone unnoticed to the American people.
Yeah, I worked in it.
What with Fast and Furious, Benghazi, IRS targeting, yada, yada, yada. They're just, one thing this administration is really good at is stonewalling the questionable activities they're engaged in.
Well, you could help us also. I've heard reports that a lot of these unaccompanied minors have a mother with them or something like that. I think, well, how are they unaccompanied if they're not unaccompanied? And then what does that do in terms of are they actually following this law? If they come in from Honduras with a parent, should they come into the country or should they be sent right back because they have a parent with them? What's supposed to happen there?
Well, a lot of the things that they're doing, or understand, all we know is what we hear. Okay? All of this information is being kept very close, and you only get bits and pieces. Now, any type of discretionary relief that these people or may be afforded to them is discretionary. The indication we're getting is, no, they're giving it to everybody. Well, that's not the way the law is designed to work.
Interesting.
So the idea looks like is the purpose is to get as many of these people into the country, embedded in different locations, so that's absolutely difficult when the time comes to get rid of them. Clearly, these are not refugees. These are people that came here to take advantage of the American compassion and the invitation from this administration to come here and stay and work and one day get an amnesty.
Now, you heard that Governor Perry wants to send the National Guard, but other people say they're not allowed to do anything. Is there a sort of a chain of custody, or say the obligation not to let those children out of the Border Patrol's custody until they have it in the hands of HHS? Could other people really help so that the Border Patrols aren't, making sandwiches and changing diapers? What are the legalities or the restrictions on that?
Well, it all depends on what the operations order says. Now, I didn't read it, but this is what I heard. They send 1,000 National Guard troops to South Texas. Well, if you divide that up into 3 or 4 shifts and you allow for days off, you're talking about no more than 200 or so on duty at any one time. And the op order, as I heard it, is they're supposed to only be in an observation mode. Well, observe what?
That just doesn't seem to make sense. Observe what? They might as well not be there at all. Zach Taylor, when we interview someone like you, in preparing to interview you today, I come up with about 50 different questions. Questions that, that I have right off the top of my head about the border situation. We've got about 2 minutes before we have to leave you. Please tell me the answer of the question that I'm not asking, that you want to tell our audience about what's going on down at the border.
You're being deceived. Political deception is rampant. What is going on with this illegal alien surge is being modified in the press. You're not being told the truth. You need to get informed. You need to get in touch with all of your elected officials and make sure that they understand that you want them to enforce the immigration laws that exist today aggressively and fully. And forget about a fence, because it's too late to close the physical border at this time. You need to worry about what's going on in your state and in your local community.
Zach, we got about a minute left, so please take 30 seconds for this to answer this question. We're hearing rumors that some of the Border Patrol officers are getting sick. Is this true?
Yes.
It is true. Hey, Zach Taylor, please tell our audience where they could go to find out more about the National Association of Former Border Patrol Officers.
Go to our website, nasbpo.org, National Association Former Border Patrol Officers.org.
And anybody can join?
Yeah, but you have to be a senior member. You have to be a retired Border Patrol officer. Anybody can be a supporting member.
Okay. That'd be great. Zach Taylor, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Love to have you come on in the future to talk about some of the solutions that your organization would like to see. Can we do that?
You bet.
All right, take care. God bless. And we're going to take a break right now. You are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Jonathan Mosley and Rick Trader, coming to you from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia. The way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and around the world on the internet with our internet broadcast partners. Don't forget, you can now hear our show anytime, day or night, by calling 832-999-1199 and check out our website, conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com. 2 different sites, different information on each one of them. Please don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest, Bill Shafley. This is Rick Trader, host of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
And I'm John Forsyth, owner of WNJC Radio. Fellow patriots, the Conservative Commandos radio show is for conservatives, about conservatives, and by conservatives.
We are patriots who want to take our country back from the likes of Barack Obama, Harry Reid, George Soros, and Nancy Pelosi.
But we can't keep up this fight without your critical support today. Can you help? Please go to www.helpccrs.com right now and make a donation by credit card or PayPal. That's www.helpccrs.com.
Our goal is to expose the liberal agenda and distortions. We are fighting to spread the truth about political issues, political leaders, and conservative issues and values.
Our hosts are not paid. In fact, we buy our own airtime, studio time, and pay our own expenses.
We created the show because we are trying to make a difference. So can you help the CCRS expose the truth in 2014 and beyond? Go to www.helpccrs.com.
You know, no one exposes the issues, liberalism, and the Main Street media like the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Our view for conservative values and issues: take positive action to restore our country.
Help keep the Conservative Commandos radio show on the air by going to www.helpccrs.com and make a donation today to return our country to the conservative roots created by our founding fathers. "9/11. It's a day that will go down in our history as the most horrific and destructive scene ever to happen on American soil. It will also be, for most Americans who witnessed it either up close or simply watched in horror on TV, America, to participate in a national memorial I call the United Action of Prayer this coming 9/11 and every 9/11 from then on. United Action of Prayer is simply every American stopping whatever they are doing for 1 minute at precisely 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. to either observe 1 minute of silence or pray in memory for the 9/11 victims and their families, and perhaps a prayer of gratitude for living in a country where even 9/11 could not at all weaken the spirit of our great nation. If you're in a crash and have little cash, come to AJ Auto Body. We handle insurance claims fast, and repairs are guaranteed to last at AJ Auto Body. Come check us out.